Now then, Major, it's Game Changer here. So I'm just using an alternative count to have a little look at your base, see if there's anything we can spot. So first of all, 85% as an attack is absolutely outstanding, so keep up the great work. 36% on defense is about average, but there are some in the team are in, well, of course, I've got one in the 70s. Myself, I'm in probably the about the 50% mark. So there's possibly about 14% defense stats we could do little tweaks and maybe improve. So we'll have a look, see what's going on, see if there's anything we can spot. It could be that you're a smaller fish in a big pond, to be fair, because you're 49 and you probably know there's some big guys all about you as well, isn't there? Okay, Major, we're at your base now. So, first observations, everything's in theory working well. You've got maybe a few buildings close together here. You could possibly push them a little bit further out so that the spawn zone's at its absolute maximum. You reckon 2.5 squares is kind of the absolute sweet spot, so that you don't get any of the gaps in your sort of spawn. You can see that you've got over 2.5 gaps there between the power plant and that metal storage. So obviously a slither's appeared. It's not really going to cause any bother, that particular one, you wouldn't have thought. Well, actually, you know what, you might be able to exploit that slither, because if I'm using an M270, I bet I can probably go to that sort of point there and fire over the top and start to get into your war factory, and there's actually no turret there that's going to pick us up. So you probably know yourself, if you get your war factory taken out, you're kind of on a bit of a downward spiral in a sense, really. So watch out for that. Now, I'm not sure what you're attacking with yet, bro. We need to have a look at that. But I'm certainly, let's say M270 it would be a typical attack method. Now, an M270 will take out railguns without being hit. And you've got two railguns on this side here. So again, I could come from this side here and take out your two railguns with M270s, and they wouldn't pick me up. And then obviously I've just got to contend with the salvo, but again, I'm into that sort of area. So there's potentially two weak spots. I can spot that from that sort of distance. Now, I'm also kind of mindful that your two things that you want to protect the most, you obviously are having to think about, because you've got mines in there. But obviously those mines there really, M270s, GMLRS, and later on the HIMARS, which I'm sure you've experienced, they will outrange those mines. So I just feel that your base is maybe too far this way, because you seem to have a lot more sort of space this way. So maybe you want to move those buildings a little bit. The buildings that you want to protect want to be perhaps more in the middle. I mean, you could potentially even swap your war factory and your barracks actually for your heavy. Swap those two over, might actually give you a better balance of attack. Certainly have a think about mine placements. For me, mines are all about where is the player going to come from. I'm always trying to sort of think, well, you know what, if that was your weak spot there where I would come over the top and hit your war factory, then I'd probably have a mine on that little sweet spot there. I'm kind of always trying to think, well, where are they going to hit from? I mean, I'm looking at the base and I'm kind of trying to give you ideas where improvements could be made. I mean, in theory, your base is pretty sound, but obviously the defense stats just a fraction low. So obviously there must be some sort of improvements we could look at. I'm noticing there's not really much in the realms of air defense. Certainly, you could possibly take a machine gun out and go for maybe an extra flak in there. Peacemaker, I think, would be particularly good. If you haven't got that unlocked, that would be well worth it. So other than that, really, mate, keep doing what you're doing. I think things are good. There's just a couple of weak spots that you could look at. Certainly this area here, and coming straight, because the first move I'm always going to do, how do I get rid of your war factory? If I get your war factory out of the way, the heavy cannon's not really going to cause any bother. I can get to the heavy cannon if and when I want, because ultimately it doesn't move. If I'm out of range, it's not going to cause us any bother. But your war factory is going to spew out tanks and then M270s. your infantry barracks there, that's going to spew out soldiers. Now, at your level, I would go for a lot more sort of mortarmen, later on force recon, Moors are quite good to have. I've also tried the, what do they call it, the, begins with O, little... I want to say Omnix or something like that. So there's a little buggy that's a light vehicle. They're quite good in defence as well. A couple of them to come in after your tank is usually quite a good little strategy. Notice in your helicopters there, you're starting to get the bigger sort of fatter choppers in there. They're obviously very, very good because you need something like a Zeus to take them down. So you're getting there, mate. You know, things are looking good. Things are looking strong for a level 49 player. I think you're doing really, really well. I think you've just maybe got a little bit too much bias towards machine gun. The only things that outrange a HIMARS, the new turret, by the way, sorry, the new vehicle, is Salvo or Peacemaker. I had a base today where it was all machine gun, and not a single one of them touched us because I just outranged them and took them out. So little things like that are worth watching out for as you get stronger. So that'll be it for now, bro. Maybe have a little tweak about a couple of things I've said, have a little look through, and then give us a shout if you want me to have another look. Cheers, bro.